you can do it either or. Officially, we've converted the blogs, but I think columnist sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah, it sounds way more, I guess, legit. Not saying the blogger doesn't, but NCAA columnist, we'll stick with that since I'm used to it. We're talking with Aaron Hays-Truman here on the show as we do every week inside D2 Football Live. And Aaron, happy Saturday.
Yeah, to you as well. It's another big day of MIAA and D2 football all around.
Absolutely, and it actually got started up on Thursday, and we talked about it last week, how I do not like these Thursday games, and Washburn-Lincoln have 3 of them on their schedule, their final one coming up 2 weeks from now against Missouri and Western, but they easily handled Lincoln as they expected 66-26. I didn't get to see much of this football game, but from what I hear, Washburn up 49-0 after a quarter. How the heck do the Ichabod's get up so much after one?
It's just a pure case of being overmatched on the part of Lincoln. I mean, the Ichabods had, I think, 4 or 5 one-play drives that were touchdowns, that were running plays from Justin Cooper scored a couple, Sean McPherson had another couple. Just totally overmatched on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. You throw in a couple quick turnovers by Lincoln. They had an ugly interception, an ugly fumble on a kickoff, another fumble that could have been an incomplete pass, but was ruled a fumble. That all led to scores real quick by Washburn. This game wasn't much of a game from the very start. Within under 4 minutes into the game, it was already 21-0, 49, like you said, by the end of the quarter. 66-26 wasn't even indicative of the pure just beat down that Lincoln took in this game.
Yeah, because it sounds like the Blue Tigers were able to score some late, and from what I hear, Lincoln had 6 points at halftime. Aaron, Lincoln won 35-3 over Avila. It looked like they may have had some confidence coming into this football game. Does all that confidence go away after a beatdown like this?
I think it starts to a little bit. I mean, I talked with some Lincoln people in the off season, and they feel like they can compete in the MIAA, or at least that's what they say on the outside. But I think it's pretty clear it's going to be a long season for them. You go back to last year, they lost 83-21 to Missouri Western in a non-conference game, and they got beat up pretty good by Missouri Southern too. So it's going to be a long season of MIAA football for them, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can pull off any wins in conference.
And you know what stinks for Lincoln? They welcome in Northwest Missouri State University next week, so things don't get any easier for the Blue Tigers. Let's talk about the MIAA matchups for today. First off, I want to start out with the one that starts at 1 o'clock in Kirksville. Fort Hays-Truman State. This actually, to me, may be one of the most intriguing games of the afternoon, Aaron, as Fort Hays, a team picked ninth by the preseason and in the preseason media and coaches poll. I know I picked them today down towards the bottom. They surprised people by taking up what was supposed to be the dark horse in Emporia State thanks to turnovers. And Truman, we didn't really get to see their new look offense. They are very high on J.B. Clark and his abilities. He didn't look so good in the opener, but he was playing a Fort Hays Northwest Missouri State team, eager to come out and start with a win for Coach Boswick and also for Coach Dorrell. Talk about this football game. What intrigues you about this matchup today between Fort Hays and Truman?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, what J.B. Clark can do coming off his very disappointing first game against a real good Northwest Missouri team, and to see if him and Truman can rebound off of just a 3-point performance. And Fort Hays, like you said, they surprised me at least when they beat Emporia. But you kind of got to ask yourself, did Fort Hays win this game, or did Emporia just give it away? And it was a little bit of both. Fort Hays made some big plays. They had some great players on defense. Alex Whitehall had 15 tackles. Corey Allison added 10 more and had a big interception late in the game to ice it. And it was Fort Hays running backs last week that were a lot more impressive than the threesome of Emporia State guys that at least I thought would really be impressive. So it's gonna be interesting to see who kind of, if Truman State can get off the schneid a little bit and establish themselves as somebody who's not going to be another 1 or 2 win football team this year.
Well, and I wish I was able to talk to Connor Nichol this week for Fort Hays. Unfortunately, not able to get him for the show. But he talked about in his interview with me week 1 about how Fort Hays, if they could get that win against Emporia State, really has a good opportunity of going 3-0. And you know what? I have to agree with him. Right now, I'd say the edge kind of in Fort Hays' territory. The game's closer because this is Hays-Truman, and you know Fort Hays, they have to travel everywhere, but this is their longest drive of the season. 9 hours. What are the keys for both teams in today's game?
Well, I think for Fort Hays, you got to look at Blake McCarron, another first-year quarterback in the MIAA. There's plenty of them. Just overall quarterback play for the Tigers, and then Chris Brown, their head coach, says even though he didn't go with Anthony Shepard at all last week, he does hope to get Anthony Shepard in some reps this week at quarterback. So we'll have to see what kind of quarterback play they can put up. And those running backs last week, Edward Smith and Andre Smith, the Smith brothers. I don't think they're actually brothers, but they share the same last name. To see if they can repeat both almost going for 100 yards, if they can put up big numbers again, it might be a long day for Truman. And for Truman, it's all about just getting some confidence, getting some points on the board. If J.B. Clark, a Division I guy, if he can get some confidence, get some scores, get into the end zone early, it might turn into something good for Truman.
The only afternoon game in the MIAA this week, Fort Hays going to Kirksville to take on Truman, and it should be a very interesting game. Hopefully I can keep track of that throughout the afternoon, and we'll let you know on hopefully some scoring updates from that one. You can check out our Facebook page, D2 Football Live. I'm going to skip over Central and Western and Sioux Falls Northwest, Aaron. We'll take a commercial break and talk to them about them after that. I do want to get to Pittsburgh and Emporia, and this is really a matchup of the two surprises from week number 1. Pittsburgh just going in and manhandling Missouri Western 34-7, while Emporia, like we had just talked about, was a team that just, kind of sort of gave the game to Fort Hays. You do got to credit the Tigers, though. Very solid defense in that one, despite giving Tyler Eckenrode his career day passing the football. But it's really kind of Pitt being back now. I mean, 34-7, they're back in the top 25. I know that it's just one game, but you got to have the feeling that Pittsburgh State Gorillas, at least for one game, are back to the Pittsburgh State of old.
Yeah, I voted for him at number 25 in my top 25 poll on D2Football.com. So, and Bob Eblin in his national column this week said, quote, Pitt State is back, and that Division II football is more fun with a good PSU program. So I think it's true. Pitt State has a lot to offer. That stadium down there is great. They're having their first night game in an awful long time tonight. This season they've moved to some evening games at home. And yeah, they were really impressive last week at Missouri Western. I don't think anybody could have imagined them coming out and putting the stomping that they did on the Griffins. And then you got Emporia State, who you look at the statistics and you don't know how they lose that game until you look at the 3 fourth quarter turnovers, and the way that Fort Hays was able to capitalize. But I think this is a really intriguing matchup and one that's really tough to call. I picked Pitt State in my column, or my blog, whatever you want to call it, this week that I just posted very early this morning. If you want to read it on D2Football.com. But it's going to be interesting. Emporia State has what it takes to be a competitive team this year. If they can keep away from turnovers, you still have to watch out for them.
Yeah, and you know what? With both of these teams being very good at running the football, this could be a very fast contest in Pittsburgh. The 90-second meeting between these two teams, it's one of those good old Kansas rivalries. It looks like, from what Matthew Buck said, they're out for revenge again. This is a Pitt team that really doesn't lose to Emporia all that often. And they did lose last year 17-14. Do you think the Gorillas may have revenge on their mind today?
Yeah, I think they want to get back just to to avenge themselves over the last couple of years. They've had it's been a couple of years since they've been the dominant Pitt State team that everyone's kind of used to. And it's nice to be back at home for a home opener. You know, they've won 92% of their football games at Kearney Smith Stadium since 1986, when their dominance kind of came back after, you know, they were good way before that in the NAIA, but they've just been a dominant team at Kearney Smith, even with their recent struggles. And so it's always a tough place to play, and it's going to be fun to watch, I think.
Well, and we're going to keep you on the phone lines. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk Northwest Sioux Falls and West Central Missouri. That's coming up on D2 Football Live. Don't touch that dial.